Hi, Mom. Oh, hi, Michelle. Hi, everybody. We got two very eager listeners. I could tell we're ready. I mean, oh, Amy. Amy, how are you making? How are you doing? Oh, you did make it this time. Ah, everybody's here. Well, so far everyone's here. Amy, I don't know who's not seen this yet, but we're doing we've been reading the Dolly Parton biography, My Life and Other Unfinished Business. Chapter 10 is what we're on, and we've been reading the last, well, I'd say 9 chapters, one every other day. So it's perfect time for you to join. I was able to finally get the YouTube thing worked out, so I've gotten the iCloud, all the cloud things. So I will be posting officially all of the last 9 chapters and today on YouTube, because we've had some pretty big requests to be able to go back and listen to it or to share it. Or maybe you just want to download it and make jokes on our expense, and that's okay. We're totally down. We're totally here for it. That's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this. So let's do a recap of last chapter. So last chapter, it was the longest chapter we've ever had to read. It was a long chapter. In fact, it was so long that, did you know that Instagram cuts you off from your live feed after an hour? We had reached to the 1 minute and 50 seconds before they were going to cut us off. It was that long of a chapter. So that chapter, she finished high school. Dolly Parton graduated from high school, as she says, by the skin of her teeth, and she was more than excited to get out of there. She moved to Nashville. I had to rejar my memory. She moved to Nashville to start her career. And at the same time, she was very dedicated, struggling artist. But she met a man named Carl. And Carl ended up being the man she married. And she did not expect on getting married. And let me see if I have a picture. I was trying to look through the book to see if they had pictures of Carl. But it didn't. Oddly, at least not there yet. But we did get to hear about her first recording, and there's actually a photo from her in the in her recording at Monument Records. Fred Foster, me, and Uncle Bill in the studio. And if you remember, Uncle Bill is an actual uncle. He was musically inclined, and he kind of drove her places, and they did that thing. But yeah, so they met. She met Carl. They got married secretly because her agent or her manager didn't think she should get married at such a young age of her career. But they got married, and then I think that about catches us up. So there's a few of you here. I think we're gonna jump right in. Again, we are, and you don't have to even watch. If you're new to this, you can set me down on a pedestal, like I am, high on a pedestal. Just kidding. You can just set me down. You can go about your daily business, cleaning, feeding your kids. This could be story time for your children. If there's a swear word, I'll try to censor as best as possible, but I can't promise. It's Dolly Parton. But yeah, what I'm getting at is you don't have to sit there and stare at this. You can just do whatever, and you can just listen to this. And this is the green wig that we've worn several times. We decided to bring it back out for today's reading. Okay, here we go. One day, and if anyone wondering who that lady is that keeps saying hi to everyone, that's my mom. Just kidding, Mom. We love you. Keep saying hi. Bye. Okay. Oh, Mary. I just had to point out Mary, another friend who just joined. Okay, here we go. Chapter 10. One day, I walked into the office at Monument Records, and I was surprised to find a message for me from Porter Wagner. It was a request to come to Porter's office at a specific time with my guitar. I had sent some people. Mary, hold up. I gotta address Mary's question. Mary, I'm not afraid of the wigs that you dropped off. I wore them the last few times, but you haven't been here watching our live videos, so you have no one to blame but yourself for being wig visualist. No, I'm definitely using your wigs, but I went back to the green one today. Okay. But thank you. I love wearing those wigs. I'm going to wear one of them next time. I promise. Okay, here we go. As I said, it was a request to come to Porter's office at a specific time with my guitar. I had sent songs people all over Nashville, including Porter. He had the #1 syndicated television show in the country at the time. And I was well aware of his importance in country music. Oh, just as a heads up, this book was written and published in the 90s, 1994 to be exact. So there is going to probably be some possible information that's not correct. Like Saturn Car Factory, her husband Carl owned the land, and they're not around anymore. So hey, dates, whatever. Here we go. Keep going. I was also familiar with the female singer on his show, Norma Jean Beasler. That's a name. The one Porter always called Pretty Miss Norma Jean. Everybody loved her, myself included. She had done some fun songs that I can relate to, like Don't Let the Doorknob Hit You Going Out. I had some songs I thought might be right for her, so I submitted them to Porter for consideration. I assumed that was the reason my guitar and I were being summoned to Porter's office. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined what was about to take place. I wonder what was about to take place. Well, let's keep reading and find out. I sang a song I had brought with me from the Smokies. It's called Everything is Beautiful in Its Own Way. It was not the Ray Stevens hit, but a song of mine that I had recorded for Monument Records in 1965. My version of the song was never released. The producer for that session was none other than Ray Stevens. That gives you some idea what a young girl trying to break into the music business at that time could expect. I had no idea what to expect from Porter Wagoner. I finished my song and looked to Porter for a reaction. I couldn't read. For a reaction. That's a hard word. Gosh, I gotta learn. He was never a man to let on much about what he was thinking. The way he just sat there... Oh, Billy Love. Hi, Billy Love. The way he just sat there for a minute or two with his hand on his chin made me more than a little nervous. Then, like a bolt from the blue, he blurted out, Norma Jean's getting married and moving to Oklahoma. I want you to be my new girl singer. He went on to say that he had heard Dumb Blown and Something Fishy, and had seen me on a local TV shows. He said he had seen something magical in me. I just stood there with my mouth open. Now Porter became the businessman. He became the businessman. His brow furrowed up a little bit as he said with conviction, all I can offer you is $60,000 a year. Wait, that's not correct. I just made that number up. Oh God, I gotta do this. Okay. All I can offer you is $6,000 a year. Oh my gosh, not 60. Six. Okay. I was almost completely dumbfounded by the offer and the dollar amount, but I tried to act cool. Everything I had ever heard from my daddy about horse trading and everything. I'd even learned from Uncle Billy about the music business quickly flashed through my mind. Porter looked like a little puzzled and pondered with me. Will you accept that? I said with the best poker face I could put on. I'll have to think about that. Yes, I will. So much for horse trading. I had just made a big commitment and taken an even bigger step in the big time of country music in the blink of an eye. We immediately began talking about my place on the show, how I was to dress, the kind of songs I would be doing, etc. Porter mentioned a few things about costumes and then went on to talking about songs. When he asked me, do you know how many hymns? I was still thinking costumes. I thought he had said, do you know many hymns? Why, no, I answered. Does she sew here in town? We both got a good laugh out of that, but it would not be the last misunderstanding in our relationship, or the last time I would be talking about one thing and Porter another. Any relationship is like a house with an upstairs. It's got 2 stories. I know that everybody who knows anything about me and Porter would like to have the true story about what happened to us. Nobody would like to know that any more than Porter Wagoner and me. I could badmouth and say all manner of bad things about Porter. On a side note, I'm sure we'll get to it, Porter Wagoner and her had a terrible falling out. So, yeah. Okay, I could badmouth and say all manner of bad things about Porter, as he had said about me as he has about me through the years. I chose instead to tell it from my own standpoint and to try to see it through my spiritual, rather than the natural eye. I truly believe that all things and all people are brought into our lives for a good, God reason. No matter how hard things may be or appear to be at the time. God never gives us more than we can handle. That which does not kill us makes us stronger, as they say. I have analyzed I have analyzed my relationship with Porter over the years and come to understand that even though it was the hardest and worst period of my life, those 7 years were the most prosperous, productive, and growth-filled ones as well. When I think back on it all now, it is good. I remember, after all, good memories enrich and sustain us through a bad present or an uncertain future. God meant for it to be that way, just as He meant for us to forget the bad. Otherwise, a woman would never have a second child, a soldier would never report for the second day's battle, and a heart would never sail more than once into the treacherous waters of love. Looking back at the sentence, I have just written it, seems to fit my relationship with Porter even better than I had thought. It was in many ways like giving birth. It sure as hell was a battle, and there was definitely love involved, if not the kind of tabloids would have you think. First of all, I want to say that I will forever be grateful to Porter for the chance he gave me to display my God-given talent in such a big way. I sometimes wonder if Porter doesn't take more credit than he deserves. On the other hand, I often wonder if he gets enough credit. Porter did not discover me, as my Uncle Bill had spent many years heading me in the right direction. Bill had brought me to the attention of Fred Foster, Monument Records, and Combine Publishing. I had 3 chart records of my own and co-written a country song of the year with Uncle Bill. I had a band and had traveled around the country by then. I had appeared on national television shows, including American Bandstand. Those of you that are just joining us, we are on Chapter 10 of Dolly, My Life, and Other Unfinished Business. I think my camera's all smudged. Hold on. That's just me unsmudging it. Yep, it was just a slight smudge. It was that shine coming from the reflection of that sun back there. Okay, we're good. There we are. So Porter had seen and heard about the new girl on the scene, and that is why he brought me into audition. It was rumored that Porter had a reputation for sleeping with all the girls he worked with, and he probably thought I would fill that bill nicely too. I may be flattering myself there, though. As Porter has always admittedly denied having a romantic relationship with me, I am not about to admit nothing he ain't. We did, however, have a very passionate, stormy at the start and very loving relationship. As the years went by and we began to disagree strongly, we lost much of the warmth and affection and respect for each other during that time and for many years after we split. At the beginning, I was like a kid in a school. One of those accelerated schools where you have to learn a lot in a hurry. There was a lot Porter could teach me, and he was generous with that information. I could sing when I met Porter. After knowing him, I knew how to perform. Even now, that training helps me out to difficult spots on stage. When a drunk is creating his own show, or I have completely forgotten what the next number is, I find myself using a Porter line or move to smooth out the situation. Porter knew his audience. He loved them. They loved him. Every night after performing on the road, no matter how small the town or seemingly insignificant the venue, Porter would stay and sign autographs until the last fan who wanted one had been satisfied. It was at one of these autograph sessions that I met Jolene. She was not the fiery-haired vamp who tried to steal my husband, although that makes a much better song. She was actually a beautiful little girl of about 9 or 10. She came up to the edge of the stage for an autograph, and right away I was taken with her long auburn hair. "You sure are pretty," I said. "What's your name?" "Jolene," she said as she shyly held out her scrap of paper. I had never heard that name before, and it made an impression on me. I remember it a year or so later and got the idea for that song. I don't think that little girl ever knew she was my inspiration. Maybe she will read this and I'll know it at last. I will never forget my first appearance on the TV show. I was confident enough in my singing, but had no idea how to behave in front of a camera. Years later, when I had my own series on ABC, I did one special show from Nashville. As part of their research material, my writers watched a tape of the very first Porter show. They laughed because at the end of the show, in the middle of my second number, Porter came in and interrupted me to say good night. That was not out of the rudeness. It was simply the way the show was done back then. It was impossible to tell in advance how long the various segment of the show was going to be. So when the time was up, Porter would just say goodnight. Nowadays, everything is timed out to the fraction of a second. I guess that's good for the people who buy the commercial time. To me, there was a certain charm about those old anything can happen days. People in general... I need to take a sip of water. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Just had to drink water. Stay hydrated, everybody. People in general, and country people especially, are slow. Oh wait, people in general, and country people especially, are slow to accept change. For the first year or so that I appeared with Porter, the words I heard most often were, "Where's Norma Jean?" I don't think they meant it out of disrespect for me. They had come to know and love Norma Jean and were genuinely interested in her welfare. She had been around a long time and had several hits. I could understand their loyalty to her, but I could have done without their yelling for her in the middle of my number. In a subtle way, it was one more of those little inspirations for me. Whether or not I ever voiced it, the words, "I'll make them forget Norma Jean," were in my thoughts back then. I would have gladly stepped aside to way to make Norma Jean temporary return when it came to the live commercials. Some of them weren't so bad. I didn't mind telling folks about the flowery tiles and boxes of breeze. In the mountains dialect, it came out, "flowery tiles." After all, I had hawked Blue Band coffee on the Cass Walker show. I could also smile with some degree of believability while pushing Solstice, a cold remedy, or croup salve, as we called it. What used to almost kill me with humiliation was to have to do commercials for Cardui. I don't know if I said that right. Cardui. Cardui. I know that Chattanooga Medicine Company. Oh, Cardui, I bet. I knew that Chattanooga Medicine Company was a loyal sponsor of the show, and its support ultimately paid me. But that did not make it any easy for a young woman to go on TV and talk about menstrual cramps and water bloat. My face must have turned colors, even in black and white. As if it weren't enough, I had to join with Porter in singing the praises, literally, of black drought. This was a laxative that made you smile from the inside out. According to the song, I hope my colon was smiling and sincerely. Or, I hope my colon was smiling sincerely because the smile on my lips was phony as all get out. The jingles were sung, the smiles were faked, and the checks were cashed. Try to imagine what $6,000 represented to a young woman who had grown up in poverty in the Smoky Mountains. It was a world of money. It was probably more than my daddy had earned in his lifetime. I did act kind of silly with it at first. The joke is that the hick who strikes it rich always goes out first and buys a Cadillac. So, did this hick. I still like Cadillacs. I guess I'm just a Cadillac kind of girl. I went up home in my new car and told everybody how much I was making, and they were in awe. I always told myself, and I suppose I made a secret promise to God, that when I made it big, I would make things better for Mama and Daddy. That first Christmas, I took steps to keep that promise. I don't remember what story we told my parents to get them out of the house for the day. Whatever it was, they fell for it. They left the way that way it left. I am stumbling on my words today, people. I am so sorry. It's just making me sound very, I don't know, backwoods maybe? Nope, I'm not making fun of anybody. Just saying. I met a few. Going back to it. That first Christmas. Oh, yeah, okay. Whatever it was, they fell for it. They left the way, geez, I messed up the word again. That left the way open for me, with the help of brothers and sisters, to work a minor miracle in the house while they were out. I had bought all new furniture, carpet and curtains for the house, and we completely redid the place that day. It wasn't all for Mama and Daddy. I wanted the younger kids to have the nice things too, that I never did, especially the girls. I wanted them to have a pretty, frilly, feminine room. Oh, I did love living in Georgia. I just saw that message. I did love living there. That was fun times. It was good times. I loved it too. It was great. And I'm not just talking about the people I met in Georgia. I know some people from Nevada and Colorado. They're from the backwoods. I'm not putting you all down. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I just saw that comment and I had to get to it. Okay. I joked that I wanted them to have a bed with a canopy over it instead of a canopy under it. I now saw to it that they did. Then there was Dolly Parton Day back home in Cedarville in 1970, which Porter helped to make a success. He insisted that the event be produced as a live album, and he arranged for many well-known Nashville musicians to be part of it. The album was a success, and it made me very proud. I can remember, though, how uneasy many of my relatives felt at having to dress up and attend the festivities. This was especially true of Daddy. He was and is a shy and very private man. I could tell how out of place he felt wearing a suit and standing next to the mayor and other dignitaries. Of course, none of my family felt especially comfortable around the show business types. I have often felt sympathy with my family for having to try to live up to my image. It's as though everyone expects all of Dolly Parton's relatives to live in a big house and drive fine cars. That is simply not the case. I have tried to help them in every way I can, but nobody makes that much money. It was not so much a matter of money or what we had to wear, Daddy. Oh goodness, I'm struggling on these words today, and it's such an easy read. It was not so much a matter of money or what he had to wear with Daddy. He is a proud man and would have thought nothing of standing there in his overalls as long as they were clean. It had more to do with his shyness. I know him also to be very sentimental. If someone gets to bragging on one of his children, he is likely to get misty-eyed. He would rather fight a bear in the town square than have the side of himself revealed in public. I understand that it comes from the deepest, most private part of him that every person should have the right to keep to himself. Hold on, I gotta say something. Hey, Bryce. Bryce is down in the yard. Hey, Bryce.
Yeah.
Don't talk too loudly about that specific stuff you're talking about right now. I think we're picking it up and I don't want people to hear you talking sadly that we didn't get the loan and that other people might have. Your brother part.
Your brother.
Sorry, we just had to take care of some background music. Okay. Whew. Okay. Sorry, that was a very. We had to silence some background noise really quick. Okay, here we go. Okay, my daddy, he would rather fight a bear in the town square than have that side of himself revealed in public. I understood that. It comes from the deepest, most private part of him that every person should have the right to keep to himself. Becoming a star seems to mean we have to give up all that. Even with all that stardom has to offer, that still sometimes seems unfair, much more so for those who are simply the relatives of stars. It has often seemed to me that my relatives have been sunburned by the spotlight that always follows me around. As the years have gone by, Daddy has come out of his shell somewhat. He is very, very proud of me and what I have accomplished, and he loves to ride in the Dollywood parade and wave to the crowd. He would not want to have to speak in public, but he's real good at riding and waving. Ironically, my mother was always the outgoing one in the beginning, but the years have made her more reserved. It's as though she and Daddy gradually traded places. I'm going to take a sip of water. And coffee. Okay, it is undeniable that my time with Porter Wagner had a lot to do with my becoming a star. I remember, long before I had any dream of being on his TV show, when my whole family used to watch it back in the Smokies. We could all relate to his sense of humor and his good old boy ways. I could relate to his shiny bright costumes, his flashy smile, and his blonde helmet. Someday, I still hope to get my hair as high as his was then. He was a Missouri boy with a dream. He had started with humble beginnings, much like I had. I admired him for having made so much of himself. So, even before I went to work with Porter, I knew many of the wonderful things about him. As I said, I don't want to dwell on the bad. The early 70s were some of the best songwriting years of my life. Joshua, an old-time preacher man, won BMI Awards in 1971. I have since won many awards and honors, but those still stand out as a special one to me. Porter and I made many duet albums together. It's frightening to look back at some of those old album covers with the two of us dressed in almost the same clothes, wearing almost the same hairstyles, and smiling identical cheesy smiles. It's funny how your tastes change. It was also during the Porter era that I signed with RCA Records. I hated leaving Monument because it meant hurting my friend Fred Foster. Porter wanted me to be on RCA, and what Porter wanted usually got done. He is telling the truth when he says that he made RCA a guarantee to get them to sign me. Porter told them he would pay them every cent they ever lost on me out of his own pocket. He never had to pay a dime. I guess the real problems that arose between Porter and me were all about dueling dreams. Porter dreamed of me staying with his show forever, and I dreamed of having my own show. I had only promised to stay with his show for 5 years. Porter knew that and felt that was unfair. Porter knew that and felt that was fair and fine at the time. Time went by. Oh, for those of you that are joining, I see there's a few new joiners. We are reading the 1990s biography of Dolly Parton called Dolly, My Life, and Other Unfinished Business. We have been reading a chapter every other day, and today is chapter 10. Don't worry if you've missed it. I finally figured out how to upload all of the videos to YouTube, and I started processing them last night. So you will be able to, fingers crossed, by later tonight, early tomorrow, be able to watch the other chapters and keep up. There is a new wig every day, so if you're really trying to figure out what's going on while we read the Dolly Parton book, new wig, new chapter. We're living life in this quarantine era. Okay. So here we go. We are going back. But I want to give a couple waves to some people that just joined us. Okay, here we go with chapter 10. Time went by and I wrote more and more songs and dreamed bigger and bigger dreams. Porter became very competitive and possessive and very intimidating. I'm not sure Porter realized what a serious and I'd like to think talented person I would turn out to be. Maybe I'm flattering myself here too. I know he had no idea how stubborn and strong-willed I was. Nothing and nobody has ever been able to stand in the way of me and my dreams. Even when Porter thought he was doing something nice for me, it would somehow turn out wrong. I once caught a fish, a smallmouth bass, about 3 pounds. That's not a huge fish, but it's not bad for a smallmouth. Porter said he would have the fish mounted for me, and I thought that was very thoughtful until it came back. It was not my fish. It was a 10-pound largemouth bass. Porter thought my other one wasn't impressive enough. I didn't care. I wanted my fish, the one I had actually caught. The bigger one didn't mean anything to me. I started playing golf with Porter, and I got to where I wasn't half bad. I actually shot a birdie one day on a par 3 hole. I wanted to have the ball mounted. Porter once again offered to take care of it. The ball I had scored the birdie with was a Titleist. I'm not a golfer, I can't say it. The ball I got back on my plaque was an Arnold Palmer, so that didn't mean anything to me either. I never had the balls to ask Porter where my ball was and my fish. I just let it go. Don't get me wrong, Porter did believe in me and put himself on the line many times on my behalf. We just didn't always agree, seldom agreed, on how to handle my career and how I fit into the overall scheme of things. In all fairness to Porter, it was his show. He was the boss, and I was nothing. Big deal. The boss of nothing. Joke, joke. Ha 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 ha. Seriously, though, I guess I should have been more willing to go by Porter's rules, but they just went against every cell in my body after a point. That was not unique to Porter. I had seldom agreed with parents, teachers, anybody who tried to exercise control of me, my talents, and my beliefs. Porter was just as stubborn as I, and I had not planned on that. Even though we were both at fault, I will claim any and all blame and responsibility. Even though we were both at fault, I will claim any and all blame and responsibility. I'm sure Porter will be pleased to hear that and be in total agreement. I think it all had less to do with me or Porter than either of us like to believe. I think it was God's will for a higher purpose for both of us. I can't speak for Porter, but I truly believe I have become a wiser and better person for the growth I accomplished during those difficult years. It was a great lesson in patience, tolerance, acceptance, love, and especially forgiveness as we dealt with greed, spite, possessiveness, jealousy, fear, even hate at times, the former being angels and the latter being demons. I think of Porter as one of those most important angels in my life, even with all of his demons. I have enough of my own demons to wrestle with, as we all do. We certainly were not shy about turning our demons loose on each other at any given moment. It was not uncommon for us to argue and holler loud enough to be heard a block away or at the back of the bus. I usually try not to argue and fight. It's truly not my nature, and it makes me very nervous. Even as a kid, I would cry at being scolded or even when it's given a sour look. Porter liked to quarrel and argue and shout. He did with most people. I don't think he really meant any harm by it. It was just his way. He especially seemed to enjoy fighting with me, though, and after a while, I started to get into it myself. It seemed to be the only way we could communicate and was a relationship we both understood, stupid as that may sound. I have known other relationships in which fighting seemed to be the only excitement. It made me tough and strong, though. If you could win an argument with Porter, which I seldom did, you had really done something. I would usually find another way to win, like leaving. We were way past the point of no return after 3 or 4 years, but we kept holding on to nothing, as one of our biggest hits said. I wanted to go. He wanted me to stay. I resented the fact that Porter pushed Fred Foster, my Uncle Bill, Uncle Lewis as far out of my life as possibly could. That may be just my opinion. Some may say relatives don't know their butt from a biscuit about business. I disagree. Since they were no less educated, less qualified, or more redneck than Porter or me, it's all in how you look at it. At any rate, we couldn't agree on what I should do, what I should sing. Hello, little lady. We've got our special visitor. She's coming in. Let's bring her up to the table. Come up here, little lady. Yes, we are reading the book. Here we are. Yes, here we go. Willow, say hello. Say hello. Are we reading a book? Okay. Here, remember, I gotta hold it though.
Hello.
Oh, she's standing. Everyone, hello. Okay. At any rate, we couldn't agree what I should do, what I should sing, what I should write. If I could write, or who could publish the songs I did write. We were on a dead-end job. She's trying to snatch my wig. We were on a dead-end job. She snatched my wig. They say, all good things must come to an end. You never know what to expect with a live reading. Oh, God, that's so funny. Oh, God, okay. I gotta hold it. We gotta keep reading. Okay, what I should write if I could write. Or, who should publish the songs that I did write. We were on a dead-end street. They say, all good things must come to an end. I say, all things must come to new beginnings. She really wants wants to just read the book. It's cracking us up. She's almost 2, and she loves reading. She'd rather hold the book, too. Oh, Bryce will come and get her. We'll let her hold the book for a moment. What page am I on? Oh, she closed our page. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, I'll get right back to it. Found it. Hold on, let me
Got some peeps?
I got a lot of peeps. Let me put my hair back on.
Oh, no.
She snatched my wig.
That's upsetting. I'm going to snatch it off.
Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, where's your sandwich? You got your sandwich?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. She knows that.
We'll see you, little lady. Okay.
Back in character.
Okay, back into character. Here we go. Okay. Okay. We all love a good Willow intervening. Okay, they say all good things must come to an end. I say all things must come to new beginnings. So I left. As hard as it was to go and as long as it took, we finally arrived at a place where I think Porter was actually relieved to get me out of his face, his hair, his ear, his show, and his life. I know I felt that way about him at that time. I had already stayed 2 years longer than the 5 I have planned. Looking back, it seems appropriate. After all, the indentured servants who came to the New World had to work 7 years for their freedom. 7 years is traditional. Jacob worked 7 years for the right to marry Rachel, then was tricked into marrying Leah, and had to work another 7 years. I worked 7 years to pay my way into the new world of stardom, I guess. I still came out 7 better than Jacob. Making the decision to leave was much easier than the actual leaving. It happened while we were on the road. I can still see the taxi waiting there in front of the hotel with its door open, welcoming me to the new beginning. As I walked toward it, it seemed like a mile. It was almost more than I could do. My knees barely buckled, my heart nearly stopped, but I walked on. I knew what I was doing was right. I knew I was saving whatever love and respect Porter and I had left for each other. That's what kept me going. That's what moved one foot in front of the other until I was inside that cab. When that car door closed, I knew it was the end of an era. One Dolly Parton had walked so painfully into that car and climbed inside. Another stronger one had closed the door. Of course, Porter was not about to just disappear. He would be coming back to Nashville, and there were things to be settled. After all, we had been in business together for 7 years, and we had started many ventures together. A few weeks after I left, I went to Porter's office, and we tried to work out as many business details as we could without fighting. He really made very little effort to get me to change my mind. I think he realized it was over. As I left his office and began to drive toward my home out on Crockett Road, it began to rain. So did I. I cried, not so much out of a sense of loss, but from the pain that almost always comes with change. It was a sad kind of freedom. Then I began to sing a song to myself. It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for that morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I see a brand new day a-dawning. I've been looking for the sunshine. Ain't seen it so long. Everything's gonna work out just fine. Everything's gonna be alright. That's been all wrong. Oh, Katie, don't worry. Oh, Katie, don't you worry. I've been telling people, those that are wanting to catch up on Dolly, my life, and other unfinished business, that I figured out how to get the files to upload, so I'm able to finally upload the videos, so you'll be able to catch today's on YouTube this evening or tomorrow morning. Okay. And I can see the clear light of a blue morning. And I swear to you, on my life, the sky cleared up. It stopped raining. The sun came out. And before I got home, I had written the song, Light of a Clear Blue Morning. It was my song of deliverance. It was my song of freedom. And I knew that God was in it. I knew that I was free. And when the Lord had set you free, you are free indeed. And so, that Porter Wagner era, at least that part of it that didn't involve a court of law, had come to an end. Many people think that the song I Will Always Love You was written about breaking up with some lover. But in fact, I wrote it about Porter and the special, although painfully heart-wrenching time we spent together. The rumors about a romantic link between the two of us have lasted to this day. There had been the same kind of stories going around about Norma Jean and even Tammy Wynette, who had filled in for her at times. One day I was talking to Tammy and she asked me, "What if Porter claims we all slept with him?" "Don't worry, Tammy," I said. "Half the people will think he's lying, and the other half will just think we had bad taste." Whatever Porter did to me, I will always be grateful for what he did for me. Whatever Porter did to me, I will always be forever grateful for what he did for me. He gave me my first big break in show business. Who knows? I might have made it some other way. But he was the only person who could have given me that opportunity at that time and in that place. Of course, this has all been my side of the story. If you would like to have Porter's, I suggest you read the book he wrote with Steve Ing called A Satisfied Mind, which was published in 1992 by Rutledge Hill Press of Nashville. Porter and I have outlived a lot of hurt and bitterness. We both felt and can once again share a stage from time to time when we work together. There is no question he did a great deal for me and for country music. So thank you, Porter Wagner, for all the goods that you have brought to me, and forgive me of the bad as I forgive you. It's like the old saying, as good as you are and as bad as I am, I'm as good as you are, as bad as I am. And that concludes chapter 10 of today's reading of Dolly, My Life, and Other Unfinished Business. I'm going around so you can, as always, so you can see the book correctly. So that's what we've been reading. We will be back reading chapter 11. Today's Thursday, I think. Yes. In the States, we had an overseas international viewer earlier today. Very stoked. Very talented card maker as well. Kinship cards. And let's see. That means if we're back, we read today, Friday, Thursday. We'll be back Saturday. Saturday at 10 a.m. Here in Hawaii. That's 1 p.m. California time. 4 p.m. East Coast time. Not sure what that makes it over in the UK and other places. But yeah, I wanted to showcase the product that we sell at the store. We are very about Dolly Parton, as you could tell. That's why we're reading it. One of our favorite artists, who I'm actually going to try to see if she'll come in and maybe do like an Instagram join in on why she likes Dolly so much. But she makes these really fabulous saint candles. They're unscented. They're, like the saints. Oh, so it's like nearly 10 p.m. in England. Or in the UK. That's perfect. It's like 12-hour difference. That's wild to think. Anyways, going back to this. Her name is Scarlet River, aka Dirty Lola. I don't know if she still goes by that, but she makes these wonderful candles. This one is about Dolly Parton. She's holding a little cigarette there. Talented super art maker in Los Angeles that we've gotten to know through some art shows. We do sell her products on our website. We have the David Bowie one, the Prince Saint candle. But here's our plug. I haven't been plugging many money-making things, but, as small businesses, we are, trying to figure this out like everybody. And if you feel inclined to buy a gift for somebody that likes Dolly, you can order through our website, curiousworkshop.com, or connect directly with Scarlet River and order from her, because she is just a small maker artisan who is trying to make it through all this excitement too. So, Saint Candle, Dolly Parton. Next time we'll be reading chapter 11. I promise I won't do too much marketing on these things. This is just a fun little thing, but it's been a great time reading with everybody today, and if you stuck through that chapter, well done. It was a much shorter one than last. It paused. It's telling me I probably should go anyways, so I gotta go. I gotta help out with putting Willow down for her nap. Oh, there was a picture. I wanted to show you a picture. Okay. Oh goodness. There was a photo that I wanted y'all to see. Okay, so Dolly Parton they had Dolly Day. This was a photo from the first ever Dolly Day that Porter and them hosted. I want to say that's probably Dolly right there in the middle. But yeah. That was that. There were no other photos that needed to be shown today. Yeah, no. Oh, maybe there's a younger version of Porter. There's Porter and her early on. He was giving her a ring of sorts, but, for playfulness. She was married to Carl. Okay, so yeah. I'll chat with y'all later. Gotta go. Have a good day. See you on Saturday.